So it's about 1987, 1988. What was the first song you you put together that you were happy with and you thought was ready to start putting out there?
Okay, so the very first song was called Pain. And I went through many different versions of that. So the actual original version originated when I was in high school. David, David Phillips, David Phillips. So David Phillips was, like I told you, the guy who I would go through and dabble with his keyboard and everything like that. So I did the first riffs when I was about 16, 17 year old at David Phillips' house. And that's where I got the strings that na, na, na. And then later on, after I got my 808 and everything like that, that was the first song that I truly put together from start to finish with the intention of that I want to release this song.
Pain, it's always in our lives. Pain, how can we make it right?
Originally released on a cassette tape. And if you ever saw the cassette tape, I don't think very many were made, maybe about 150. It's a cassette tape. It's white with blue drawing with hands wrapped around the world like this. So if you ever find that, because I know you're a collector, if you ever find that tape, that's the very first one ever.
Okay.
That was ever,
1988.
that was ever manufactured of my music.
Okay. And it's
Yeah.
in an O card.
What do you mean? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in a plastic case. It's in like the sleeve, right?
No. 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 It was in a plastic case.
Oh, okay. In the standard J card.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the standard J card. Yes, sir.
Got it.
Yeah.
What else was on there besides just Pain?
Just Pain.
One song.
One Pain. Pain.
Not an instrumental.
It was
or
no
remix?
Pain instrumental, and I believe there was like a like you know how they did the little dub mixes and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's it. That's all that was on there. Just one single.
Okay. And that's
And-
what's on the vinyl.
That's on the vinyl is a little bit different version of that version because I was with a different company back then, but then we wind up separating ways, and I did Pain under a different company. That's actually the one that's on vinyl is a different version. It's still the same music, but if you hear it, it's a different beat, it's a different sound, it's a different everything than the original version. So there's actually two separate versions out
the
there.
The vinyl version is a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe about a year or two later. That's 1988, 89. I believe the first one was, I think that was released in, I think, 87. Like right when I first got out of high school.
The cassette.
Yeah, the cassette.
All right.
When it first got out of high school. And like I said, I remember the cover. It's two hands up underneath a world. Yeah. It was just, when crack came in, man, and all the killings, and I had a brother that was murdered, and a few friends that had started dying, and I was just like, man, all this stuff. And the person who sung on Pain, people really don't know this. Her name was Angelique Jean. Angelique Jean. We went to high school at Highlands High School, and she sung with the group called New Choice, who was a R&B. They were signed under J. King, of course. You know who J. King is with Club Nouveau. And, you know, look at all these rumors and jealousy. And they had all those hits. So that group, New Choice, was with a whole bunch of girls that I went to high school with. She was a little bit older than me, but she actually sung the hook on that. I believe they had a top 10 R&B hit, New Choice. Look them up. Look them up. Mm-hmm. So she actually sung that version for me.
And she was also on the rhythm, right?
Yes.
Later.
Yes, she was on the rhythm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That and my ex-wife. She sung on that too.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them sung on that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I saw her name in the credits there. I saw a lady with your last name in
Yeah.
the credits. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many of... Okay, real quick. The cassette tape had The Hands Under the World, you said, with blue writing.
It was all in blue.
And it
Everything was
Bumpin'
blue.
T.
I want to say it was called Rhythm Music. I think that was the production. Rhythm Music Productions.
Okay.
Or Rhythm, it was either Rhythm Streets or Rhythm Music Productions. Yeah, if you find that, that's super duper rare. That's my first ever.
Okay, so Because if somebody finds it and then they go say, I'm just gonna list this on eBay or something, exactly how it's worded is gonna be important. So it'll probably most likely say Rhythm Street Records.
Yeah, Rhythm
Pain.
Street Records, Pain. You can't miss the Pain. As
Okay.
soon as you see the Pain and the Hands Up Under the World,
Yeah.
and you see it, like I said, yeah, you can't miss
It
it.
doesn't say Bumpin' T though. It says Rhythm Street.
Yeah, it'll say Bumpin' T on it.
Yeah.
On the cover that, I was the artist, but it'll say that, but that was very small.
I can't wait to find that.
Yeah, that's extremely rare.
So okay, man. So and the tape was a white shell.
White shell.
Okay.
White shell, only two colors. White shell, blue writing, or blue image. And somebody drew the image, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The cover image
Yeah.
was drawn,
Mhm.
hand drawn.
Was hand drawn.
But the tape was actually pressed.
Yes.
Pad print. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many of those were pressed up?
I want to say maybe 100.
Yeah.
100 to 150. That's it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep. That's it.
Yep, we're gonna find that. Damn. Okay. All right. So you have a couple vinyls. That's cool. That's a different version. What was it like having your own tape, man? That must have been awesome. Like a box of tapes showed up. Well, what was going on?
You know what? That was very nice. It was like Christmas. It was like Christmas, man. Seeing that and seeing something that you had done and put your energy in, your ideas, your feel, because those were my feelings, those were my emotions. That was all the energy, and that's one thing that I loved about music. And my music always mirrored what I was feeling. Always. If you listen to my music, it'll tell you exactly what I'm feeling. Every single song up until this day. Oh, you was angry. And what was you, man? You was tripping. So everything. So it was like Christmas. That's the only way I can put it. It was like Christmas. And just to hear people listen to it, and they didn't have to say anything. Just that was enough for me. That was it. I was hooked. Just loving music, but just to think, oh man, people actually like what I do. Phenomenal.
That's tight, man. So were you selling them at school? Where were they selling?
Everywhere. We sold them everywhere. Everywhere we could. School, hand to mouth. Back then they had consignment in the store. They still have consignment now, but back then, little small dealers, but mainly, man, just pop the trunk, go out there, do a show, set up, sell the tapes there, talk to family members. So they mainly went to family members and people that knew you. Every once in a while, you just pop up on the spot and you just bump it in somebody's car. Back then people had beat, and that's how we sold them.
So that's what I was gonna ask. So how much were you selling them for? Were you giving them out? Were you like $5 a pop?
It depended upon the person who owned the company at that particular time, because I didn't know anything about owning my own company at the time. I thought you had to go through somebody else. I was a kid. I didn't have any money. So I believe they gave some out, but I think we were selling them maybe back then for like $1.50. If I could think about it, like $1.50, $1.75.
Yeah.
So you didn't make any money off of that,
Yeah.
But it's just that somebody would buy your stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's just something that somebody would buy your stuff. I think I want to say, because I believe minimum wage back then was like $3.25 an hour. So if we're selling them for $1.25, man, $1.50, hey man, that's a half hour of somebody's work.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Exactly. I look at stuff like that too. I'm like, man, I can't. Took me a half hour hard labor,
Come on now.
So you better come with some good music.
Come on now.
Buy it, yeah. So, do you remember who drew the cover for the Pain single?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember, but I do know it was the owner of the production company. It was his wife. And I want to say his name is Daryl. But I do remember the cover distinctly. A lot of people really, really loved the cover, and a lot of them bought the tape without hearing the song because of the cover. They're like Pain and the Hands Up Underneath the World, and that's because everybody was going through so many challenges, man, with the crack epidemic coming through, the gangs really being prevalent with the Bloods and Crips, of course, in the African American neighborhood, and it was just a lot going on, and I'm still just a kid. coming out of it. So, it was something that really kind of resonated with me. So,
That's what I was gonna say. So, '87, you got the tape out, man.
yeah.
There weren't that many rappers in Sacramento with a tape or a record out.
No.
Was, in '87, it was literally Royal Mixers. They had Nasty Train on vinyl,
That's it.
and maybe something else, and then Triple Threat 3.
Yep. I was one of the first
Yeah,
in Sacramento.
yeah.
I was one of the first in Sacramento. I didn't realize that until years and years later that I was one of the pioneers. To really start doing it and wanting to do it seriously, where I had some type of production where I can put it out for sale. Yeah, that is actually kind of mind-boggling, really, if you think about it. So, I would, yeah, I'm trying to think of what other rappers, like other people than you named, who I wonder who was out before me.
Yeah, okay, so, well, there was the Royal Mixers.
Okay, I
for
remember
sure,
the Royal Mixers. Mm-hmm.
And then the Beat Boys came out probably
No,
86.
thank you. No,
Yeah.
thank you. Reminding me. Of course, how can I forget about the Beat Boys?
Yeah.
I mean, they were, like I said, they were the ones who were kind of bringing me, allowing me to use their equipment. Well, H Wood's equipment to do my beats. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But you, yeah. So
I was
you
right
connected
behind
with
them.
Right behind them, yeah.
Yeah, and he's the one that really kind of Romeo at the time, H Wood now, Leo Bennett. He was one of the ones who was telling me about it, and I believe he was telling the people that I was with about it and how to do it and how you can get your tapes out and do stuff like that when he was with Macola Records. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you had the tape. Did those sell pretty fast? The Pain tapes?
Actually they did.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I think because everything was so new. Everything was so new back then that people were hungry for it. They wanted to listen, and believe it or not, we had a lot of support back then. The people, they would support you, they would push you on, they would cheer you on. It was really a lot before the market became saturated and so many people got into the rap game and everybody was selling a rap tape. So no, they really sold fast. I would say, according to me, if they sold out in a month or 2 months, selling it, just popping your trunk on a random thing, then, just selling it to strangers and people that you know in your family, I thought that was pretty fast.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That is. All right. So people started hearing your tape, man, and I'm sure they were like, I want to be like this guy. They probably were hearing you and they started wanting to be, they wanted to put their own tape out. And
True.
So who were some of the first artists you made beats for?
Okay. So once I started, because I really didn't like being a rapper. I didn't really like being the front man, even though it was something that I did and I felt that I was really good at. The thing that I really loved was the creativity in the music. I love creating the music, going through the beats, listening and seeing if I can get what was in my mind, what would it really sound like when I got it out of my head to the keyboard. So once I was able to do that, so one of the first groups that I did, and you actually brought it up when I was with, Ultimate Sounds. It was basically me with Rhythm Street Records, and I had my little brother, my surrogate little brother. His name is Isaac Warrens. Back then, he went by the name of Mac Ice. 14 years old. So when you hear that album that we put out, he's 14 years old.
Spitting.
Fire. 14 years old. So he was one of the first that I produced doing his own music and stuff like that. And he's still my little brother to this day. But my style of music, back then I was a little bit more forceful and I would kind of force music on what I wanted to do. And he wanted to do a different style. He was a little bit more conscious in how he wanted to rap about things and the kind of music and feel that he wanted. So, but we're still close to this day. But then after that, then you had OG Raw Deal. They call him Raw Deal.
MCRD.
MCRD, man. Little old Smurf, Latino dude, man, with a Barry White voice. One of the coolest brothers that you would ever want to meet, man. He's salt of the earth. We're still friends to this day. You're talking about going back to 87, 86, 87 to this day, man. So MCRD, then there was Player P. Cool light skinned brother. You know, had the Jerry curl back then. You know what I'm saying? That's when light skin was in. So he was pulling all the ladies. Had his game. So Player P. I did some stuff for, of course, H Wood and Romeo. And I'm just going to kind of give you a little few. And some of my stuff that I did were him. I know I did some bass lines here and there. I wouldn't always do just the whole project. Sometimes if I go into a recording session, I just jump in. I'll do some background stuff, or I'll do some bass work. So I did the bass line and the little riff for Triple Beam song. Oh my God. What is the name of that song? I remember the bass line. It's like boop, boom, boop, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, and it had that little ooh. If you hear from H Wood, or on one of H Wood's albums, you hear that. So I played a part in that.
A triple beam song. Was that on Street Stories?
No, Street Stories was Ask Gas or Cash. I didn't do that.
Okay.
Oh, and so don't let me forget, man, Dre D. Dre D was one of the first people that I produced. Bowlegs. Oh my goodness. Who did Dre? I can't remember who Dre D signed with, but he actually was out there doing a lot of making quite a name for himself. I got to some magazines and had some nice write-ups, and was doing some traveling. So I would say those were the beginning people that I started producing in Sacramento. It was so many. It's so many. I'll probably say within a 8 to 10 year period, I probably did about 25 albums.
Sheesh.
About 25. There's Chuck Everlasting, C-Dub. C-Dub's first day of high school, he comes to my recording studio. That's his first day of high school. He's in my recording studio recording at the age of 14. And then there's Affiliated Click, C-Dub, Ransom, Mac Ice, there's Merc One, Kendrick Nicholson.
G-Side.
Thank you, Grenocide, and Carl Kinsey, CK, Grenocide. So we did that album. Strawberry Man of Gangsters, SMG, with Fred. Oh man, you know I'm forgetting some people. Isn't it a shame, man? You didn't do so much music. I didn't forgot because it's been so long. But I probably did about 25 albums between 1986 and 1997. And of course, Big Time G. Did music for Big Time G. There was Greedy. There was Magilla Gorilla. Oh my goodness. From oh man, I did a lot.
We're gonna get into all that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. How did you meet MCRD?
High school. We're all from the hood. The majority of the people I met were all from the same neighborhood. We either knew that person, we got together, and as rap became prevalent, we would all just be at the same events, the same functions, doing the same thing, and then we just start talking, and then we just start collaborating. So we met at high school, Grand High School, Del Paso Heights, man, born and raised.
What about Player P? Was Player P?
You know what? I can't remember how I met Player P, but I believe he was introduced to me. I think we met at an event, and he was looking for a producer at the time. And I think we just started talking, and then he had asked me would I make some beats for him, and I said yeah. So he started coming to the house, and of course by that time I had progressed a little bit. This was 1988, 89. 1988, 89. I had a little 4-track recording station. I had my Akai beat machine. I had by that time I think I had my Roland Juno 30, and I had a Roland W30. So therefore now I can make the digital beats, and of course I had different things on the sides in my rack mount. So and people were paying me. Now during this time now I'm now starting to get paid for my music, and I think at that time for a nobody producer I was getting $500 a beat.
Let's talk about the first time you got paid for a beat, man, and like that must have been a game changer right there. You're like, that worked. Let's keep going with that.
I wasn't charging $500. I think I was charging back then $60, $75 a beat.
Who bought your very first beat?
I want to say it was RD. That's why I love RD. RD had enough respect for me and enough respect for himself to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
To pay me.
Good for him, yeah.
I want to go back too. I want to go talk about Leo Bennett. This is years past. So years and years past. Now I'm 55 now. So I'm in my 50s. So I'm with my grandkids. I take them to Las Vegas. H Wood lives in Las Vegas. He called me up. He said, hey, I see you in Las Vegas, stuff like that. We hooked up, connect. I said, yeah, I'm going to be in Ardui, so I'm going to come by and see you. He came by. This dude comes with an envelope, gives me $1,000. H Wood, you know the story. Gives me $1,000 and said, man, thank you for all the years that you did music and you never asked for anything. He said you would just come in and do this and do that. Because I just love music. My love of music kept me from hurting people. My love of sports kept me from hurting people, kept me from being a demon. Going back to, earlier, man, I had so much anger. That's why I was fighting all the time. I would fight at the drop. Now, I wouldn't start the fight, but I was all in when somebody brought me to fight. Just so angry because I hated my home life. I hated life, period. I didn't know how to live. And then all the imagery and the oppression that they give you from the hood, it would just get to you. It would just get to you. It would just get to you. So that's why I tell you, man, if I wasn't in music, and I'm one of the lucky ones who still stayed away from music, that didn't, that was able to separate it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it wasn't for music, man, and H. Wood, I appreciate you. He don't even understand how much he helped me. But yeah, he came back one day. But going back to getting paid first, I believe it was MCRD. OG RD now. Old grizzled RD.
All right, so RD was buying your first beats, and all right, and then so he was he had his brother with him a lot of times.
Yeah,
right?
Vol, his brother Vol, man. I love Vol, man. Character.
He went by Royal Ice, or what was his name? Royal Ace?
I can't remember Vol's name back then. I can't. But also too, I want to bring up a name to you. I don't want you to forget because it's really important. DJ Gino Henry.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Talking to him.
He's very important in my story as well. He's very important.
Cool.
Him and his little brother, man.
Where does he come in?
He comes in all around the same time.
Hey, let's talk about it, man.
They're all around the same time.
Okay.
So, but we were talking about Vol though. Vol.
Okay, yeah.
You know what, man?
Him and his brother were kind of a team. So yeah, I wanted to, after our So,
yeah.
Okay.
Man, Vol. Just a fun guy, man.
Right on.
Just a fun young dude. Vol, very talented, very different ideas. Vol was not traditional. Mm-hmm. He was not you could not pigeonhole Vol in just gangster rap or street rap. Because I can't really say what I was doing was gangster. It wasn't. It was street because I was talking about stuff in the streets and the people that were around me were street. But I would say the only really true, there was some true gangsters that I produced, so I ain't gonna even talk about it. But either way, Vol, man, I really love Vol. Very talented guy. He could do whatever you want, man. He could rap, he could sing, but his mind was kind of like my mind. We wasn't stuck with just one music. We always wanted to explore and do some different things. That's one thing I really love about Vol and RD. I really never really produced Vol on his own. I think we did a couple of things, but nothing that I don't think he ever released. I believe RD may have all that stuff in his archives. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, RD sent me a track about 2 months ago that I forgot that we even did. That was sitting in his vault.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you probably heard it. Yeah, that was sitting in his vault. I totally forgot that we did that music. I just sat back and just grinned and grinned.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a lot of songs you did with him, man. I heard a lot of those demos, and it's like you're talking at the beginning and at the end, and RD saying, "I got bumpin' T in the
Man, I would think that me and RD together, we had to do at least 50 songs.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
At least.
Talking about that, probably 20, 30, 50 songs maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And I can't, things like I said that we just practiced on that probably never went anywhere. But yeah, but Vol, I never really branched off and did anything really truly individual with Vol, but he was always around, man.
All right, cool. So that was them. And then, okay, so So you did the Vapors of the Verbal for Player P.
You even remember the titles, man? I can't remember the titles.
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah, Vapors of the Verbals for Player P. Yes, sir.
Cool. And then you had like Jazz Flow.
Yep.
And a couple other songs.
And all these were recorded on my little 4-track.
Right on.
All these were for. So what I would do is, once again, now the drum machines at that time I had were sequenced. So I could sequence the drum machine and I would play live. Then I would get up to the 3rd track or whatever, and then I'd bounce them all down to 1 track. And then if I have to layer some more, that's why if you hear some things, it's not a whole lot of music in it. You know, a lot of keys. I would do some little things here and there, and then I was able to do some sampling. But then after that, I still needed 2 or 3 tracks for guys to do their vocals and to do their lyrics. So everything you hear, man, I'm bouncing over and over and over again.
Okay.
Over and over and over again. So the quality, man, it wasn't always the best quality, man, but you know, we were proud of it. We were very proud of it.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And so at about that time, you were starting to sell beats up to the $500 range already by the time you were selling the Player P?
Correct.
P was paying that?
No.
Okay.
No, that was after P.
Okay.
P, because they were my initial people.
Yeah.
I think I was, like I said, anywhere between $50 to $75
Okay.
For a track.
Right.
But then after I started really making a name of myself and I saw people just making tapes and selling money, and I'm not getting any of that money. I only got $50 for a song, so I'm doing a whole album for $500.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, then now I can do it for $5. I can do it for $5. I feel like I'm worth $5. But the difference is that we would work on the song. There was no time limit that we would need to work on the song. I would work on your track until I got it done. How many ever takes we did, whatever we needed to do, XYZ, let's go ahead and get it done. Let's go ahead and get it done. Because I want it to be right. Because the way I felt is that that's your name, that's my name, and I want to give you quality, and I want you to be happy. Because if you're not happy, then you're going to be coming back. You know, mad, pissed off. And back then, the people who had the money to pay for the music, you don't want to piss them off. I don't care how tough my family was, you know. But you don't want to piss people off like that.
Right. Good shit.
Yeah.
Keep them coming back anyways.
Correct. And I believe that's one of the things, too, that kept people coming back because they were going to get everything that I got, and they knew I was going to do it with integrity, man. I don't play with people. I don't have time for that.
Where did that come from, man? Like, you know, your family, obviously, your parents showed you that, right?
My mom and dad.
Yeah.
My mom and dad. My dad didn't spend a lot of time with me because he was taking care of all these kids. You know, 8 of them were his, 7 of them were not. You know what I'm saying? And the 7 that were not, they were tough. Tough. So my dad stayed working. You know, he was a custodian at Sacramento Municipal Airport and by night, and he was a mechanic by day. So my dad just showed me work ethic every single day or drunk or sober. He got up and he took his butt to work. He got up and took his butt to work. And my mom was a homemaker, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I believe I got that from them. Like I said, they were wonderful people, nice people. We were poor. We didn't have a lot, but we had each other, and that's what they taught me. Get up. My mom went to church day in, day out. Sunday, all day. You know, Wednesday, Wednesday. So they showed me, without saying a lot, they showed me dedication. And they were always good to people. I never seen people love my father. People love my mother. I never heard of them dogging out anyone or abusing anyone. And I'm like, that's not how I want to live my life. Now, I've seen some of my siblings do that. And that's just not the type of person that I wanted to be. So, you know, that's something that I take very serious. And that's something that, even though it may not come back to me, I want to live my life with integrity. I'm not perfect, trust me. I done made my mistakes, but I don't want to be that person. Ever. Yeah, but going back to while we're talking about, while you're looking at your questions, I'll tell you about DJ Gino Henry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See, you know what Gino's doing now.
Yeah, he's like doing sound.
Yeah, Gino's doing sound for like Thunder Valley.
Thunder
I'm talking
Valley.
about big shows.
Right.
Big shows. So Gino was out there DJing, but I had his little brother. His little brother, man. Cool little young cat. Unfortunately lost his life, like so many. Got shot, back then, way too young, man. But that's how I got to know DJ Gino Henry. And, he was doing, I believe he was DJing for the radio stations. And Derek D. I don't know if you know how influential he was in my life. I don't know if you were getting to that. But yeah, but Derek D. Him and Derek D, man, they were two people who really helped my name get out. Because they were DJs and they would spin my music. They were DJs and they would spin my music, man. But yeah, but when we lost his little brother, man, that was something that really hurt my heart, man. And I consider DJ Gino Henry a friend to this day. To this day.
Man, okay, so Derek D. How did you meet him?
Do you know? I believe he was out there spinning the shows in DJing. I can't remember exactly where we met. He would probably remember, but I know, man, he was just a young DJ out there, man, spinning, and he was probably the first true DJ that believed in me. And also my DJ Alvin D. They all worked for FM 102.5, doing the night mixes. Gino, Derek D, and Alvin D.
They all worked at 102.9.
And Alvin D, he's now out in Atlanta. They all work for, go out. You know how they do their little satellites. They go out there, play their music, and promote the radio station and stuff like that. And that's when I started getting hooked up with the radio stations. And the radio stations started spinning my music. Back then, you can kind of sneak in on the late night DJ stuff. And Derek D would actually get in trouble for playing my music, but he believed in me. He believed in me, he believed in my music, and he would play it because, the radio stations, they only want you to play the big artists. They don't want you to play anybody that's local or anything like that. That's why now all these record companies and all these record entities, they own all the radio stations. That's why you hear these same songs on the loop. You can't go in and get your song played on the radio anymore. You just can't. You just can't. But that's how I got a chance to meet all those guys, just doing shows. And whether you know that, I did a house song for Derek D.
You did?
Yeah, I did a house track. If you ever talk to him, man, yeah, we did a house track. And I rapped over that. You remember that, the type of voices, man, what was the name of that group? Oh my God. But that back in the 80s and in the 80s, that house music, everybody had that voice, and you did it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that.
The robot, maybe.
Yeah, it was cool. No, you know what I'm saying? But it was cool, man. Ask me. I don't know if he still has the track or not, but yeah, but I actually did a house record back in the 80s. That's one thing that people really don't know. It was released. I believe it was released under Cutting Edge Records.
Okay. Damn, so it was actually pressed up and everything.
Oh, it's pressed. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What was the name of it?
I can't remember the name of the track. Derek would know.
Okay.
Yeah, he would know. D would know.
That just came out on wax?
Yeah, came out on wax.
You produced it.
No, he produced it. He produced it, and I rapped over the beat.
Oh, and you rapped. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Damn. What year was that one? 88?
88, 89?
Okay.
I'll say 88, between 88 and 90.
Okay.
Yeah, 88 and 90.
Crazy. Alright. Anything else before we get to Ultimate Sounds in 1990, man?
No, we've actually, I've been kind of bouncing around a little bit as things come to my mind, man. No, we're actually pretty good. I would say back in that era, during that area up to Ultimate Sounds, man, it was a very fun time, man. Just the one thing I liked about that, I didn't make a lot of money, but I just enjoyed the experimentation